Hey guys, what's going on? Been a while since I've made my last video there. Probably a couple months. It's just been pretty busy with work and everything. But did want to dive into one hand that kind of happened over the course of the weekend. We had our home game here. Me versus Matt in, I guess we're fairly deep stacked. He had about 2,200 and I had him covered there. So I guess that's what, 400 big blinds, playing a little 2-5, no limit in our cash game here. And I was on a stone cold bluff. That did not go my way. So kudos, Matt, for picking me off there in the bluff. But just wanted to dive in because I thought it was pretty neat. And then, you know, when you step away from the table, you kind of go, what hand might have been a little bit better to use as a bluff? And then the other thing was like, the reason I floated is because I recognize that, hey, Matt has a capped range just based on the pre-flop action. So I'll dive into what a capped range is if you've never heard the term before, or like, Trev, what's a capped range? What does that mean? And it means like their hand strength can only be so strong because of how they would have played their stronger hands, and you know, based on the board texture. So this video is on a loop. I'll kind of explain it. You guys can probably see how it already is shaping up here. So I have the ace six of spades in the cutoff, and Matt has the queen five of diamonds in under the gun, like he straddled. So we're playing 2-5, and he straddled to 10, and I'll just let it catch up here. Here's my shove, and the lovely call, and picks me off. He rivered two pair. But if you can see, so on the loop here, pretty standard. So small blind post the $2, 5, Matt straddles to 10. It's folded around to me in the cutoff, and now it's a pretty standard open. With ace six of spades, you're going to be opening that up in the cutoff, so I make it 30. Everyone folds, and then Matt makes a pretty standard call. I can't really pause it here. It's kind of on a loop. Now, the reason I float is because I can have all my strong hands. I can have aces, kings, queens, jacks, tens, ace, king, ace, queen, pocket tens, king, queen suited, right? Whereas Matt can't really have any flopped sets here. So that's the big thing. Let's just focus on the sets. Matt has no sets on this board for the most part. He's probably going to be 3-betting, right? Pocket queens, pocket kings, more than likely pocket jacks to my late position open. I'm on a little bit of a looser side, I guess. So he's probably going to be 3-betting me all the way down to nines. So it's just very unlikely he has any sets here. So I have what's called a range advantage, right? My range is stronger than Matt's at this point because he didn't 3-bet or re-raise pre-flop, so he can't really have any of those sets. So what hands can he have? He can definitely have a lot of two pairs, so like king jack, queen jack, king queen, right? All those two pair combos make sense. But the way you play your two pair combos, and then the other big ones is he can have ace 10 and also the 9-10, right? Those are the straights. Some percentage of the time I'm thinking Matt will probably 3-bet ace 10 suited. I know I would to a cutoff open. Maybe even 9-10 suited. So I'm guessing that even the suited variety is probably not here. So if he has ace 10, it's probably ace 10 offsuit. If he has the 9-10 straight, it's probably 9-10 offsuit because he just completed, right? He just called my open raise. So when he check raises, so you see I bet 50, he makes it 170. What hands check raise? That's your big question. What is check raising me on a queen, king, jack? Is it the two pairs or the flop straight? I want to lean towards a no. A lot of the times a better player is going, if they flop a monster, if Matt has ace 10, he's going to want me to bet quite a few times, right? Now there is merit to check raising and trying to build a pot to get the money in. I get that. But I have played a fair bit with Matt, and I know, like, if he flops a set of nines, granted, if the board's more, you know, like in our past history, if it's a drier board and he has a set, he usually just check calls and lets me barrel again, which has been the case, and he's gotten the better of me in a lot of those kind of situations. So my gut said Matt probably would have check called with a strong hand. So if he flopped a straight, I think he check calls. If he flopped two pair, he's probably going to check call because I could still have a set. I could still have a straight too. So I think his stronger hands, he check calls, which makes me lean more towards the check raise being bluff draw heavy. So what bluffs? All of the diamonds, right? So what if he had ace 2 of diamonds, or ace 9 of diamonds, or the 8-9 of diamonds? Stuff like that's probably going to check raise. And then every one of the naked 10s. So a naked 10 is like, let's say he had like the 10-8, right? Or maybe a 10-7, right? So every single 10 is open-ended, right? Open-ended straight draw. They can hit an ace or a 9 to make a straight. And then the last kind of thing is exactly the hand he does have. He has a lot of equity in the hand, a pair and a flush draw. So in this case, he has the queen 5 of diamonds. So my first part of the breakdown was I'm going, he has a capped range. He never has a set. He probably just check calls all of his straights and all of his 2 pairs. So when he check raises me, I go, he never has 2 pair or a straight. It's really, really a draw. So when I floated hoping for a clean run out, which is what happened. So if there's an ace or a 9, that makes a straight, right? Because if he had a 10, an ace or a 9 makes a straight. There was no ace and there was no 9. The board went brick, brick. And there was no diamond because the board went brick, brick. So when there's no ace 10 or a diamond, I'm like, everything misses. All the draws miss. Therefore, his capped range, what are you still betting with for value? Probably just 2 pair, right? That's the best possible scenario for Matt to be betting for value, because I just don't think he has a straight, which means at best, he bets a capped range of 2 pair. So, and then all the other bets would be bluffs. So for me, when I shove, what am I shoving? What does my range look like? Well, if I had a set and I get check raised, I'm probably just going to call. If I play the hand identical if I have a set or if I flop the straight, I check call, let him barrel. He barrels the turn, I call again, the river bricks. Clean run out, now I jam. So I'm going to play my straight like that and probably like my top set like that too, right? So here I picked a hand where it's absolutely stone cold and I shove it all in, representing that I played my hand like a straight or a set. Unfortunately, Matt does improve to 2 pair on the river and he makes the correct call. And I think at that point there was just so much money in the pot, it did make sense. And if you want to look at the kind of my the matrix here, the card matrix, I kind of put it in here. So I removed all the hands that I would just call with. If I had aces, I'm not shoving all in, I'm just calling. If I had ace king or ace queen, I'm just calling. Same thing with ace jack. Any of my 2 pairs, I think king jack and queen jack, I probably just call. So if you look on the card matrix, what hands do I shove for value? So I shove pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks. I put king queen in here. I think I still have it in me to put in the river shove with king queen, at least top 2. Because I think if he's capped at 2 pair, well, me shoving the best top 2 pair would probably make the most sense, right? Like I beat all the other 2 pairs. I'm shoving ace 10. Oops. I didn't include that there. Oops. Ace 10, because that's a straight. 10-9, suited or unsuited, because that's also the straight. And then the best bluffs, on hindsight, when I go and look, would probably be ace 9, I think would be a good candidate. And actually, I really like 10-10. The reason I love shoving 10s is because it blocks all the straight combinations and it puts a ton of pressure on 1 pair hands. Like what if he had queen 10 and the river bricks out and he just has a queen? Or what if he had jack 10 and the river bricks out, doesn't make a straight, and he just has a jack? So it puts a ton of pressure on a pair of queens or just a pair of kings, like all those 1 pair hands. So I really love turning pocket 10s into a bluff because you block straights and you can't really win with showdown if you have 1 pair and there's 3 overcards. So I think my best hands for a bluff are 10-10, the ace 9, and I have them different color here because ace 9 probably no diamond. And the reason you don't want to have diamonds in your hand is if they're in your hand, then that's not good. You want the diamonds to be in your opponent's hand. That means they're on a draw, right? So if they're on the draw, that's good. It means their hand's probably not that strong. So when you shove, you might get it through your bluff. If you have the diamonds in your hand, it's less likely that they're on the diamond draw, which means now when they're betting, if they weren't on the draw, maybe their hand is actually stronger. Maybe they have something. So you don't want to have the diamonds. You want all the possible draws in your opponent's range so that it's more likely that they're bluffing. If you have a bunch of the draws in your hand, it removes them from their range, and now it puts their range more value heavy, right? So that's kind of why I always say I don't want to have a diamond in my hand. I want the flush draws to be in Matt's hand, which they were in this case. And the reason I say ace 9 is because, like, having an ace blocks ace 10, having a 9 blocks 9 10. So I had ace 6 in this case. I kind of just went for it, but hindsight, I think ace 9 would be a much better candidate for a bluff. And I think I really love 10 10 for a bluff as well. So that's kind of cool. And when Matt makes the call, I know we kind of chatted at the table there. It was, he did some quick math, and that's what he said. Like, there was what? He had to call 1,100 to win a $4,400 pot, which you guys can see right there on the screen. So quick math, he only needs 25%. And if I go to the next screen here real quick, Equilab, you can check it out. It's a pretty cool app, free app. You can see the hands that I put in here. So, oh, that's cool. I didn't know it did that when you hover over it. But yeah, so King, King, all the way down to 10, 10. So I put all my value hands in here, all my sets, ace 10, my top 2 pairs, the 9, 10 for the straight, all my ace 9s without a diamond, the whole thing, right? So when I put it all in there, and then I put it in against Matt's exact hand, so when I shove the river with that range that I said I think I should be shoving for value and as a bluff, Matt only needs 25% to make the call. And we kind of chuckle now because if you look at it, and I know Matt said exactly that, that's exactly what he's getting, right? So he had to call what, 1,100 into 4,400, right? Exactly 25%. So he got like the exact price that he needed to make the call, which is kind of funny how it worked out. So my question then becomes, like, what if we were even deeper? What if we each had $2,000 more and then I ripped it, or 2,500 or $3,000 more deep, and then I still rip it on the river, like a really ridiculous shove? Now the math doesn't make sense. You're still stuck with 2 pair and a capped range. I have a stronger range, and the math doesn't add up. So I wonder about that. That might have changed the dynamic a little bit. In this case, the math made perfect sense. Matt was able to kind of figure that out, and it was bang on, actually. So yeah, just a fun hand. Thought I'd break it down for you guys. But I did end up switch it back here. Did end up pulling off a stone cold barrel with the ace 6. Which is what makes our home games fun, deep stack so much more fun. You got to be capable of some of these type of moves. You can't just, play fit or fold, or you're going to get run over pretty quick. So that was a fun one. Props again to Matt for making the right call. Didn't work out this time, but I know I'll be going for it again. Hopefully I pick the right cards for the bluff, but I think it was just a really interesting hand. You don't see it all the time, and just kind of look at it again with a different set of eyes and break it down a little bit. I thought it'd be kind of cool. So went for the stone cold jam, got picked off, but yeah, thought it'd be interesting to talk about capped ranges and why I did it. So anyway, enjoy till the next one.